and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And tonight we got a great show for you all with my co-host Lucky Stone and our special guest tonight, Trina Phoenix, and Steve, slightly slanted sleuth for the truth. Hasn't been on for a long time. Neither of you, Trina. Man, it's like Lucky told me earlier, it's nostalgic. All back
in the
order.
It is nostalgic.
Again. It's so good to see you both together again as we talk about some real deep diving subjects tonight. And thank you both for coming on. I know it's hard to get everybody to schedule up again, and get them schedules together. And time is of the essence. And as things go around here, I barely have time for myself, more or less anything else. But I make time for the show. So there we go. Yeah. Trina, you came up with this great topic for us tonight. So this is your idea, and I was thrilled. I looked it up, and I think you're more in depth with it than I can talk about. So I'll let you have the reins.
Okay. Well, I thought we would just start talking about the different parts of the body that's more connected, that's more about the biofield and the energy centers of the body, and how this is an internal technology that you were born with, and it's also on the outside of your body as a biofield, and how that operates as an antenna from the whole universe coming into your field of awareness. A lot of people call it the aura. So it's kind of similar, but there's an amazing correlation with what's happening right now with technology, and then the technology that you were born with, and how they're connecting the two together. Yeah. And different forms of technology that we really weren't kind of aware of until now. We started doing so much screen time. We're starting to realize the effect of light in the eye, and how that can affect a lot of things in the body. So I'll start with some of that if you guys want, and I'll stop.
One question with all of that. Now I know if I'm thinking it, 1,000 other people are, because we're all using technology, and I can relate to a lot of the stuff that you're talking about. Every single one of us, right, especially right now, we're using our cell phones. We're using their computers. All of these things, is it the greater plan of somebody else using this against us? I mean, it also benefits us, but it's also being used against us at the same time. Unlike when they invented the Rife machine, which was supposed to be just for healing our bodies. Tesla technology was supposed to be for us healing our bodies, working one with nature, in harmony with the 430, versus the 9 or the 6. I don't know. I can't remember the hertz. Sorry, it skips my mind. But the point is that they changed it. Is this against us or for us? And why and how can we only use the good stuff?
That seems to be the big question. And when you start to understand the differences between the organic technology that you were born into and what ranges they're supposed to sit in to be healthy and normal, and ironically, they match the earth. So everything that you are is based on vibration. So, when you're getting hit with different hertz and different signals, it's literally affecting the whole being of your body, because it's traveling through the energetic part of your body, which is your biofield, and it's going in and triggering into the physical body. You're an antenna, and that's the beautiful gift of your DNA. It's literally like an antenna reaching out to the stars. Okay. Yeah. So if you want to look at, what are the major things that we get affected by with our natural field? One is light. We know how important it is that we have light. Plants grow without light, nothing works, nothing grows, nothing is operating. So the first thing you could look at is light. And light, as an internal technology, you're going to be processing that through your skin, through your eyes, and through your energy field, and also through the chakra systems, because those are basically light wheels operating inside the body. So those are light centers. And the light, and also you've got light coming out of the pineal gland, if that lights up, you know what I mean? And that's connected to the 12 cranial nerves, which operates the whole body. And then you can get into the part of the Bible in the body. That's the 12 disciples, the 12 cranial nerves. And then that's the 24 elders, is when you use both sides. There's the solar system. You're connected to the solar system. How are you connected to the solar system? Primarily through your energy wheels of your chakras in your body. So that's another base construct of internal technology that you're just born with when you come in here. It's like, you got it. You know, it is what it is. It's there. So then when you start to see that light produces the chemicals in the entire body complex as well as the earth, you start to see there's something called a benzene ring. And these actually create photon traps, which are light traps. So when light hits a protein, it connects to the chain. It forms to a loop or an antenna, and then it is surrounded by water. So light is an electromagnetic wave that changes to an electromechanical wave that is called sound. So light and water change into sound. So that's vibration. So this is where we're getting the vibratory laws through our body, and that's affected by the water and the light coming together. So that sound is then collected in the water, and that makes the water magnetic. The water draws in, and it is a very magnetic property. And the differences between those two properties creates the dipole. That is the polarity in every single cell of the body. Hydrogens and oxygens, positives and negatives. That's why it is tied to magnetism. We have found that the magnetism controls the sound. So what we're magnetizing is primarily going to be resonating with a very specific sound or tone. And when we start getting receiving and magnetizing, because when you're magnetizing, you're receiving, you're drawing it into you. When you're positive polarizing or shooting outward, you know, that's the positive outward burst. That's like the sun. The moon draws. So magnetism is a drawing. So you're drawing in these sounds. Sounds can affect every single thing within your whole being and body. And sound can also create different things like heat and vibration too. So you've got sound and heat come from different pulses or different situations that will excite those parts of that field. So they discovered how to control that with utilizing our biofield and the magnetic fields in our body. Acoustic phonons are the elemental particles that transmute both heat and sound. So heat and sound are both expressions of some form of energy. The quantum interface that appears to control which state it goes into, and they also can control each other. So that's called a phonon. I didn't even know we had phonons in our body. So this is another form of the technology that's perceiving all the information coming from the biofield and all the fields around us. So also, vibration can affect density, the density of water. It can affect different things. So when you look at all these effects that water and sound produces, you also need to look at the mitochondria. The mitochondria DNA is what makes the water and what connects it to the cell. The mitochondria and the nucleus is the resonance of the water. So the water inside the mitochondria and the nucleus, it has resonance. That's what holds it together. It's in a resonant field. So that resonance is the Schumann resonance. And that's what's emanating from the waters of the mitochondria and the nucleus inside of our cells. It's resonating at the same frequency of the earth. So typically that's 7.83 hertz. And that matches the range of human brain waves, specifically while they are resting in an alpha state, relaxed, but with mental clarity. So the Schumann resonance is the natural electromagnetic frequency generator that is generated by the Earth's magnetic field. And that was discovered in 1952 by Winfried Otto Schumann. So we're looking at the changes right now to the frequency of our planet through technologies and the integration of put things into the body that can, receive and put signals out. These are all profound things that can have a big effect on our being and our planet. So I think the planets are showing signs of what's going on with the frequency with her. And I think, what do you guys think about all that?
Oh, we lost Steve.
I know. I just saw that.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. There, he's back.
Right on.
He's back.
I knew it was going to happen. Sorry.
That's okay.
About the time. Trina says, "What do you think about that?" I'm thinking.
And then Steve, poof.
And Steve is. Yeah,
there goes the technology part of it. Yep.
Oh, right.
I know.
Like, okay, I'm done. Yeah. So, what do you guys think about all that? About how these things are affecting our internal world as well as the electromagnetic field of our external bodies?
What, things like cell phone signals and anything? I mean, yeah, I think a lot of it is dragging. I don't know, other than attention grabbing and like the 5G signal, and I've heard lots of conspiracy theories on that, but who knows?
No.
If I were to live back in the day when there wasn't any electronic signals, then I could tell you for sure. But today this is all we know. I mean, I don't know any other way unless maybe we could just all build ourselves a Faraday cage and live in that for a few days and see how clear we are, or maybe go in a cave. There's some truth to maybe going into a cave for a while just to reflect it with your own thoughts. But
I wonder sometimes if that's why they did that. That's a good theory, actually. I wonder.
Yeah. I mean,
and you were speaking. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, I'm sure there's natural waves that come, like you're talking about being in a cave. There's natural waves that come from the sun, the stars, the planets, that are all reflecting some sort of frequency in the first place. And by going into the ground, like you were saying, Trina, the ground is reflecting what the human body is reflecting, the 7.83. But then again, as we all know, we are supposedly made of clay, or we are, which is basically the minerals, and the water. Our bodies are made of minerals and water.
70% water, yep.
Yeah, so either way you look at it, we are the earth with, in a living form.
Oddly enough, the correlation between Earth and the human body is, I think we're the same exact percentage of water actually as the Earth is.
Wow.
And another thing with like the moon, to speak on what you were talking about, the sun and the moon, lunacy. People tend to act crazy when it's a full moon. You could look up data on that. So yeah, I totally agree with all that.
Yeah, it's like there's so much, but I think about all that and then I'm looking at all this stuff and then the world that we're living in. It's like, there's got to be ways to, to help. Because like for me, I'm real sensitive to stuff like that. And it really affects me. Like the sun starts exploding and it really affects me.
I can't sleep when it's full moon for some reason.
I know I have a hard time too. So it's really especially I think too, when you start getting more tuned to yourself and stuff, you start to get a little bit more sensitive to the environment around you. You pick up on it more.
With age too. I'm getting a little more sensitive to everything.
I've been doing it for my whole life, so I can't run that card. I wish I could, because mine started like since I can remember, since I was 3. I could just pick up on things around me. I could feel the power lines like a pretty good way before I got underneath them. You know what I mean? There's just certain things I've always been sensitive to that way. So for me, this stuff is really huge sometimes, the way it feels. Like,
oh, okay, yeah, I understand.
I feel it. Yeah, it gives me headaches. I feel like my
I get
head's
hypertension from the moon and from like the sun having coronal mass ejections and all that stuff too. Yeah. So I know
Well,
what you mean.
I live in kind of a big city and we have a lot of technology here, Steve. I mean, it's extreme.
So do I.
It's
I live in Minneapolis, St.
unbelievable.
Paul. So yeah, I understand.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's over all of our houses on the streetlights. We've got antennas and all kinds of devices on every single
Mhm.
street light in the neighborhoods. I mean, it's all over. And the 5G tower, I mean, we can see it from
Oh
the
yeah,
house. It's huge.
I could see
These are
6 or 7 of them from my house. Yep,
Yeah, I can too, but yeah, I mean, a big
they're
one's
everywhere.
like right there, it's crazy. And because I'm from this area and I grew up when none of this was here, and I was surrounded by orange groves.
Mhm.
And I do know the difference. I mean, I can feel it. I'm conscious of it. I can remember what it felt like then, and I know what it feels like now. And I do take into aging and all that stuff too, because that's just real, But
Yep.
yeah, it's definitely powerful. But it's like how can you help? How can you help if you're feeling it and it's kind of causing you some discomfort sometimes,
Put on,
number
make
one
yourself
thing,
a
like you're
copper hat.
saying, the Faraday cage, it's brilliant
Yeah.
you brought that up, because you know what happens when they do put stuff into Faraday cages?
Mm.
They reset.
Mm.
Yeah, they reset. And like they've taken like old like wheat seeds and stuff that not really really old, but when they put them in a no electromagnetic field, when they Faraday cage everything for a while, it actually resets some of the seeds and they come back
That's
with
interesting.
properties that we no longer have anymore, so they go back to their original blueprints.
Mm.
That's pretty cool.
Isn't that amazing?
The
Yeah.
So, you
Go ahead.
two, I don't want to interject too much, but it's funny because you two both live in an area where there's lots of technology and lots of towers and stuff. I, on the other hand, live in the absence a lot of that. Yes, there's some towers and stuff like that, but like today, I drove to Montana, and as I'm driving there, once you leave the North Dakota border, until you get to the next town, there's a big dead zone. Your phone has no
Yeah.
signal. There's
Yeah.
no technology for a good 20 miles. And so is this dead zone. At least everybody I know talks about
How
it
did you
as
feel?
I felt different.
Did
I
you?
feel different. Now, I've drove through that dead zone many times, and every time I drive through it, it feels different. I mean, the scenery looks the same, but you feel different and you just can't figure out why. You're pissed off because your phone
You
quit,
feel lost
but
because you can't get no signal? Is that what?
well, you know it's coming, but still, it just feels different. I mean, I don't know what it is. I mean, but as soon as you
I
get back
feel
to
it
town,
too. And you were mentioning the radio frequencies, and I remembered it. It used to be set at 432, which is a natural resonance frequency of Earth, and now it's been changed to 440. And when you look at what that frequency does under biofeedback, it irritates the human. It causes anxiety and distress and irritation. And the worst thing it causes is inflammation. That's a big deal for health. Inflammation.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, it's like we're starting to learn about these things. And like, of course, this is not giving any kind of advice. This is totally speculative. And we have absolutely no do your own research. Do your own research. But we're just talking for education and information purposes and entertainment purposes only. So, yeah.
Absolutely. We're not doctors.
You got all the boxes checked on that
Well,
one.
you kind of have to this day and age, because it's gotten that stupid.
Yeah.
Having just a conversation is stupid. You can get in trouble for having a conversation about, do you think? What do you think? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is all our
This is
just
true.
opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Role, like Rex Bear likes to say, we're on a role playing game.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Yeah. So when I look at, I've been seeing, I've been looking at years for these really strange correlations, like because I watched, like we went from a telephone where they're telling you information through an electrical line. So they're telling you through the phone, through a little phone line. And then next is we get television. So then they're telling you a vision through another electrical line. And then you're going, so then you get from the telephone or from the television, then we go to the cell phone. So we went from a telephone, which is, just an audio, to a cellular connection.
That's funny. I just seen that connection made by somebody today online about
really?
cell towers. It's talking to your cells and
it's totally amazing. And then when you look at internet, what was the oldest form of the biofield that informs your physical body? Used to be called ether. AETHE, yeah, ether. And now we have the Ethernet, the internet, the Ethernet. There's no wires for Ethernet.
Well, to be fair, the Ethernet was a cable.
Yeah, but do you realize it's all having to run through a cable for interface? Be it the telephone, the television, but they're all receiving a signal into that line from an antenna.
Well, yeah.
It's the same for human beings. And now science has identified the biofield, your auric field, literally operates like a big antenna. And it has a direct line communication into the body through the DNA, because the DNA is an antenna. And they're all connected to the earth by the resonant frequency between the matter and the water.
So I have one question.
Yeah.
If we are all energy, basically all atoms, everything is break down to energy. Why can't we become our own Faraday cage? Why cannot we manifest our own electromagnetic Faraday cage around ourselves? Why can't we protect ourselves with our own mindsets?
Well, I think we can.
Blanket, you can.
No,
I think you can.
That's a physical object. I
think you can without any physical stuff. I've done that by frequency, and that's what it is. It's you got to get you have to feel different than the frequency you don't want to feel. It's so funny. Back to Brian, be the frequency you want to receive. It's seriously, it's like full on Brian. I mean, it's like you can't have it out here unless it's already in here. So like when I've been attacked by energies that are dark and nasty, that's how I can usually get away from that very quickly. But I have to shift myself from inside first. I can't let fear, I can't let any of it. I can't. As soon as I recognize it, I start singing songs.
Well, I've seen shows on like how those monks can heat themselves up in the frozen surroundings and just melt the snow around them just by doing what you said. Yeah, so
You're right. You're right. It's all about the power of what you believe about your own mind. Because
what's that dude who can swim in the ice cold water?
WinHef, is it WinHef or
Wim Hof?
There you go. I was like, it's Win something.
Yeah, Wim Hof. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what that is? That's all based on military training.
Yeah, he said it's all starts in his mind, and he just does.
It's all just mental. Literally, it's literally you can hypnotize yourself and get to these places because it's already in you. It's already in you. It's already there. And you got to discipline yourself, of course, and you can't just do crazy stuff without practice and a lot of effort and hard work like all of these guys do. Every monk that can levitate, they're heavily disciplined. Every person like Wim Hof, I'm so sorry about butchering that name, but he can do things that are supernatural.
Yeah, he can.
And what does he say? Everybody can do this. Anybody can do this. He knows he has nothing special. This is fact. He's telling the truth.
Yeah, he said that too.
It's fact. It's what you believe, what you think, what it is literally that big. It is so big what you believe, but even bigger than what you feel, because until you create this shield, which you would never protect yourself from your own magnetic field, but you would want to shield your magnetic field. So you're shielding your magnetic field. And how would you do that? You're going to put it at a resonance that nothing that you don't want can enter, because it can't, because it has to match in vibration. These are the cosmic laws. They supersede any of our man-made crap. These are superior overall. So vibration and resonance is the key, but it's kind of tough to stay in a high vibe all the time. So I know that's real too.
Well, you said believe, but it's not believe. It's be and live it, be it and live it.
That's what I mean. You have to know that you hold the potential before you can manifest it.
Absolutely.
And you have to believe that you hold it to manifest it, because just for you thinking it, just to have the question means the answer is already waiting to be heard. It's already, the answer is literally what brought forth the question. Wanting to be discovered. Yes.
Jeopardy. The question and the answer is the question. The question is the answer. Oh man.
Yeah, and the question, the answer that's within you is what produced the question, because that part of yourself is wanting to be revealed to you through yourself. So when you had a question, the answer is what produced the question.
Okay.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all backwards.
You don't have the
It's
answer.
all backwards.
Yeah, it's all backwards. It seems like it's all backwards. So when you really start to see about things, when you look at it from this way and this way, you can start to see how potentials divide, how things split apart through the poles, because it literally is choice, energy, resonant vibration. It's kind of that simple. You will be what you're vibrating at. And what you vibrate at is not about thinking. Thinking has not much to do with vibration in that aspect. When you're talking about hardcore, how are you vibrating? That is coming from the heart. So it's how you feel about it, even more than what you think about it.
The knowing is the answer.
Knowing, yes.
Yeah,
knowing.
That's always a bonus.
Well, yeah, I mean, people search forever for the truth. They're always searching somewhere else, and they always forget the one place to look, themselves.
In. You gotta go in.
Yeah.
It's not in the political system? What?
Nope. Not this
man,
time.
I'm looking in the wrong spot. Come on, man.
Yeah, but see, that's what. But
doesn't Fauci know the truth? Fauci knows the truth, right?
I'm allergic to politics.
Well, that's exactly it.
Yeah, you must be breaking out a lot lately if you've turned on your TV or watched it, listened to anybody.
I don't do that. I don't do that anymore.
Anybody, it's coming up everywhere. It's like, oh my God, give it a rest.
Yeah, it's about time. I mean, it's about time. I mean, really, it's been a long haul, but yeah, I heard, speaking of an ouchie, I heard there was a decline on a renewal for passport, so decline for all international travel 2 days ago.
On top of it, he doesn't have security and all that now too.
Yeah, and now no passport.
Wow, that's crazy.
Well,
they're keeping him in the country so they can arrest him.
Is that real? I'm like, is that even real? I mean, because if I just don't, I would have a happy dance party.
It's so scary right now. You just don't know what's going to happen.
I do not know, right? I don't even know. I'm like, that could be false information.
Everything.
But if that was true, I'm like, okay, well, that's about fair, because a lot of people, they got ouchie.
Yeah. The thing is all these politicians are getting so old, like him, ouchie guy. He's in his 80s.
Well, he's not really a politician though. He was just a crony for him.
Yeah, he's a billionaire politician. I mean, come on, give it up, man. He's retired on his island somewhere, by
Yeah,
now.
he's not a billionaire. He's a billionaire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's made his billions. He's done now. But
Yeah. Yeah.
that whole
and
situation, everything is just wow.
I
you
know.
think about
If Steve, if we could like speak freely right now, we'd have a lot of fun with that one. Let me tell you.
Wow. That's right.
We'd have a lot of fun with that one.
It was never about money. It was all about power. That's all they care about is power.
Yeah,
I think it's a lot of money, man.
No,
and with money comes power.
The higher at the top, the money's no longer the object. Money's irrelevant. It is literally, it's about control. It's what makes them, Steve, when you get everything you want for so long, you don't find pleasure in the things of the world anymore. I work for some of these people, so I know the mindset. I just know the mindset. So no, that's not really at all true. They really, the whole thing that brings them pleasure after having all the material things you could ever want is power and control. So that's absolutely true in every case I've seen. So that's my personal opinion. It is not fact. So do your own research, people. But yeah, seriously. I up close and personal, and I do know that I've asked them. I've point blank. I said, so at a birthday party one time, I says, what do you buy the one that already has everything in the world that they want? And they said, nothing I want even is here. They said, because the only thing that you want when you have this much is more power, more control. And I was like, well, isn't that an honest answer? I said, thank you for the enlightenment. I said, and I agree. Absolutely agree. I said,
you got no money if you're a broke motherfucker, though. I'll tell you that. Or you got no power if you don't have any money, is what I mean by that. You got nothing. If you ain't got money, you got no power. You got no chance at having any power. So,
that's true.
They all had to build themselves up to get to that stage you're talking about, and it was all through corruption.
Well, most of them were born into, Steve. Most of them didn't even have to do it. They just got to be born.
Yeah, that's sad.
They're making $180,000 in a government job, and they got $3 billion in their bank account. How the hell does that work? It's just
right, because they were born into it. Yeah, they were born in the special club.
Yeah,
exactly.
They got horses playing polo over there by Robert.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. The thing is that, when you get so powerful or money wise, you look for power. It's like, there is nothing left.
You know what I heard a long time ago, and it was a funny thing because when it was spoken, I was like, my God, that is absolutely true. The ones that literally hold the most money in the world. It was funny. I says, oh yeah. I says, so many people, I was talking about people making money and making money and making money. And I was talking about them. I says, what made you the most money? And they giggled and they laughed and they said, well, you got to understand, we don't make money. We write it. They make the money. They literally make it by writing it. They write the money into existence. I mean, it's different ball game. I mean, totally different ball game.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally different ball game.
Well, see, and that's the thing for us people down below. It's hard for us to wrap our heads around that.
Well, because none of us knew how it was even worked. Nobody knew. I mean, really, nobody knew.
Yeah, we don't know.
It's not that we're too dumb or whatever. No, that's not it at all. It's been, it's very guarded information, how our world actually works.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know how. Until recently, until probably a year or so ago, I have no idea how to make money except go to work, make money, put it in the bank, and save it. That's all I know how to do, Yeah. But you're never going to get rich that way. You're never going to get anywhere. You can't just go to work, make the money, put it in the bank, and then look at it and say, "Ooh, I'm getting richer and richer and richer." No.
But why do you want to be rich? What is it the problem, the thing is you're looking at the money, but I think is there something that would make you happy that you want, that the rich is going to get you to, well, you need to get that step and just find the way to be happy without taking the path around because the money is just going to come from other people, but the happiness comes from you. You're going to find the happiness in yourself.
That's what I was just going to say.
Well, you can't be happy doing fentanyl, living under a bridge, broke off your ass, dude. You know, you got to have money to be happy. Period. Otherwise,
not being dead ass broke.
Yeah, I mean,
that's not good at all on anybody, anyhow, anyway. But to live a small, modest life. Most people,
that's in a nutshell.
Yeah, which is.
But I gotta go to work and make money.
Most people, I don't know anybody that doesn't, Steve. So I'm with you. But the thing is like, people think money and being able to buy the fancy car or take the fancy vacation.
Oh, I agree with that. That's what he was getting at. Yeah, that's what Lucky was saying.
They want different things. Everybody wants different stuff, which means for them rich. But when they study what is the truly most successful places in the world and what truly is creating the biggest joy and love signals in the body from people when they get something that truly makes them happy, what it really is?
Love.
Love, but primarily acceptance and feeling that you're giving something of importance to your community. So people who lived in smaller communities that did good things for their communities exhibited the highest levels of hormone and brain supporting that they were living in the highest joy. And it was because they felt they had a purpose to be alive, because they were seen of value to their fellow community. Mm-hmm. And everybody had a part. People that made the shoes, people were grateful they had shoes. People who cleared roads, they were grateful they had a road they could travel on to and from to get to the places to get supplies. It was all about what could you do to help the whole. And if you found a really great thing to help the whole, people would really honor and appreciate that. And that brought forth the greatest joy in a human person, was to feel loved and appreciated by their community and their family. That was it. There was no money involved. It was about people think what I did was good. That brought the greatest joy. And they appreciate what I did for them. And I get up and they're appreciating me for doing what I do. And that's a good feeling.
That's all that matters. That's all it really matters in life, is being appreciated. That it comes down to that.
Yes. Yes, it really does. An ounce of gratitude goes a long ways. It really does. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, to get back to the frequency thing, do you think that if there's any credence to the Atlantis story, and you've heard that the Atlanteans had those electromagnetic healing booths or whatever, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you've heard those stories. Do you? And I think they're testing technology nowadays about stuff like that. They're starting to get into that. Have you heard anything?
I totally believe that, because I did a past life regression hypnotherapy, and that was where I actually went, was to Atlantis. So from what my DNA would show me, oh yeah, absolutely 100%, you're accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're talking about using electromagnetic radiation or electromagnetic waves to heal the human body today, and they're, it's a taboo subject. Excuse me for itching my eyes. The dog I got from Robert years ago is always irritating my eyes. I've got my dogs, but I love them.
No, you're right. I think you're right. And just like when they found what they found under the pyramids this week. Did you guys see that? What they found under the pyramid?
Yeah, but that study was from 3 years ago, right?
Yeah, another guy found it, but it couldn't catch a lot of ground. And now this one, for whatever reason, they're letting this dude take all the credit. I totally get that. But did you guys realize that looks like a battery system?
Yeah, like Dunn was saying that the pyramids were a power plant. Yeah.
And you know what, Steve? That's from Atlantis. That's the technology, because Atlantis is known for the pyramids. That's where it started.
Well, I totally
Atlantis.
believe. I totally think that there was an ancient civilization that probably far exceeded our understanding of what all of this is, and probably the technology was way farther along. And some cataclysm happened or something. But I think that like all of the stuff that Bob Lazar has talked about with ancient craft, and he said that they found a alien spacecraft, and that whole story with Bob Lazar, right? And that it was an archaeological find. So who knows? Maybe it was ours. Maybe it was.
It could have been, but I will tell you from the memories that I had, we were working side by side with different species. Now, whether they came from a different part of Earth, I don't know. Extraterrestrial means extra land. So is this place
Right.
bigger than we know? First question. Second question is did they come from under the ocean? Did they come from extra land, or did they come from outer space? Now, I don't know, but there were definitely different things. And also too, those beings taught us a lot of things regarding technology. And that's what started the Chimera programs. So yeah, I that's what I saw in those visions. Now you can't prove any of that, because it's just what you see in your consciousness. But I do, the most people that invent the most beautiful things, and people that found really good, remedies for people that didn't feel good. A lot of them did it, the sleeping prophets and this and that and this and that. Those are all just from going to a higher state of your own consciousness and gathering information. And like I said, when you have the question, it was probably brought forth because the answer was already within you, trying to get your attention. Ask the question.
Right. It's like Tesla himself. Most of his inventions just came from, like you just said, just asking himself questions and running scenarios.
And he dreamed most of it, and then he'd wake up and write down the maps and whatever they told him and showed him at night, and the detail how he could remember that, because dreams go away really quick. So these couldn't have been dreams, because dreams fade, but downloads and visions, they don't fade. They stay. Have you guys noticed that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the most profound thing. I was like, that's a very interesting thing, how we can't hold on to the dreams, but boy, we can hold on to the like visions or the downloads. Those are different. They stay with you. And some of them, you could have them 20 years ago and you can remember them like it was yesterday.
What's been happening to me a lot lately, as far as, I don't know, premonitions or clairvoyance, is like, I bowl a lot. I'm on bowling leagues, and I don't pay attention to who I'm bowling next week. And, I don't pay attention to who I bowled last week. But like 4 or 5 times in the last couple of weeks, I've thought to myself, we're going to be bowling them tomorrow. And sure enough, it's those people that we're bowling, and not just that, but then, phone calls, I'll think of somebody I haven't talked to in a while, or, and it'll be like, I'm not kidding, no more than 2 hours. And this has happened to me 5-6 times in the last couple months, where I haven't talked to somebody for a while. And a couple hours later, they're calling me and I'm like, what the hell? And then the other day I thought of somebody, and, I wonder why that guy was talking to me a couple weeks ago. And maybe this was just my intuition, but I found out he died, 3 days ago. And I'm like, oh my God, I was just thinking about him in a nice way, thinking, why? Because this guy was talking to me out of the blue a few weeks ago. And I was like, why would he come up to me and talk to me? And then like 3 days after I thought of that, I found out he was dead. I'm like, what the hell?
Wow.
So things like that have been happening to me a lot lately. And I don't know if it's just
that for me, that's a signal that you're on track.
No, I don't know about that.
I don't know why, but it feels like when you're in alignment with where you're supposed to be, those synchronicities are just poo, 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 poo. So good job, Steve. It looks like you're right where you need to be.
I don't know if it's a good job. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure it out. But I used to
I have
more,
seen that.
more,
When I feel like I'm in my flow.
When I was doing more shows and thinking about it more, recently I haven't been, I've been working a lot, and that's why you guys haven't seen me online.
Me too. I've been going 6 and 7 days a week for a long time now. It's really a burnout, man. It's rough.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Robert
you
too.
gotta-
He works like a maniac. I mean, we all work our asses off. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Don't feel bad about having those dreams and visions, because I've been doing the same thing. I've been noticing, well, there for a while they kind of quit, but they're back at it again, where, I'll be doing something, and especially at work, and I'll get done and I'll just stop and I'll fall asleep for like a minute or maybe 2 minutes, and I'll have this vision or fantastic dream, and it'll feel like it's so real.
Yeah.
And then when I get done, I'm like, where the hell am I?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, what time is it? And I'm like, I don't even know. I have to sit there for a minute or two and kind of bring myself back to realize where I'm at, what I'm doing, that this is the real world.
You better go get
It isn't-
tested. Next time you don't have dementia. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. What drugs am I on? Right?
You know what I think
You doing, Robert?
I think it's so amazing that our consciousness is that powerful, that you sleep and you go into these different realities, and some of them are more real than this reality. I mean, that shows you the power of the you that is you, regardless of what dimension you're in and what body you're in.
Mm-hmm.
But Robert, are you writing them down?
Yeah, I know. And then it's like, but see, the thing is, it'll catch me off guard. You know?
The off guard, you got a cell phone on you, right? You can always email yourself.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, because it'll happen, and then I'm like, and then I'm trying to, and I realized I'm trying to get rid of that memory, and I shouldn't. I should be embracing that, but I'm trying to get rid of it so I can fully embrace what I'm doing now, in this reality versus that other reality. Like I'm being torn between two places at the same time.
The thing. See, your problem is you're trying to get rid of something, but they keep telling you something, and then they're going to keep telling you until you pay attention. So that's why writing it down, okay, and you're going, okay, I'm going to put a pin in this. Write it down. I don't have to think about this again. I can focus on reality for a while. I know there's the fantasy world, the dream world, and then the physical world. You can separate them. Doesn't matter. It's fine. But the dream world is going to keep bugging you until you take that memory, take that message, write it down and go, okay, I'm writing this down, so please leave me alone so I can do work in the physical world. Because this pays my bills. You don't pay my bills.
That's a good point. That's
why you have to start either email yourself even a little bit to remember, and then when you have time, sit down and write what you can remember. It'll bother you less because there's a message coming to you, but you're ignoring it, and they're going to keep hitting you. I mean, I know, passing out, you're trying to focus on work, and then you go whoop, and you go into this trance, and you're like, oh crap, I just wasted 15 minutes to this stupid trance. I got to get back to work, and then again, it comes another day.
You know what I found when I worked with people and I get into their bodies and get them into a state of, relaxed, a little light, open-minded state. And when there's memories or things that come up, how you're like, I just want to get rid of it. I just want to get rid of it. That's when it's never going to leave. Because you got to embrace it and you got to ask it, what is it that you're trying to tell me or show me? And where are you in my body?
Oh, yeah.
Where are you in my body?
That's true.
And I want to talk to that part of my body to see what that part of my body has to say about this memory too, because you loaded that into your body and it's somewhere in your body. So there's obviously something going on with that part of the body. It could be, or you need to heal that part because something's going to go wrong if you don't. So that's why it's pursuing you. It's not pursuing you to torture you. It's pursuing you to save your life.
You got a point there.
Listen to your trauma, listen to your agitations, listen to all those things, because we look at those as things that we immediately want to push away. Because when we identify that something's wrong, our ego freaks out and it has a temper tantrum.
Yeah.
So find out how to talk to that memory and say, you keep coming at me. What is it you want me to understand? Show me. Show me if there's another memory that matches this, that I can get more information. What do you need to know? And where are you in my body?
Yeah, and it's it's usually same. Probably 50% of the time, it's kind of same location, same kind of setup. It's like I said, it almost seems real after a while because keeps happening.
Is it involving another person, or is it just a memory, or another animal, or?
No, it's like real life almost. That's
Okay.
what freaks me out. It's like real. I mean,
It's like a
it's like
parallel
other
reality.
people and life and things going on, and sometimes they're kind of crazy things, but yeah, I don't know. I try to, I think, wow, and then it's like try to forget so I can move on with my day. You know what I mean?
I wonder if you're tapping into a parallel reality.
Mhm.
And that's why it's so confusing, because it's feeling so real, because you are actually existing in that other dimension and somehow you're connecting to another part of yourself. Your soul is so vast. You guys can be operating over 1 million avatars at the same time.
It
There you
does.
go.
It does feel real. It's so
It could
real.
be. So maybe if you can look at that.
I had a buddy too that would zonk out like that in the middle of the day, but he'd wake up and find himself on the other side of the warehouse, but he ended up having diabetes.
Right.
Yeah. And he's going to a diabetic coma. So have you had your blood sugar checked?
No, I have not.
Maybe you should
definitely do that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not trying to be funny or anything. I'm just telling you.
I'm sure you're
No, when you have reoccurring things, there's something there. That's what I'm just saying. There is really something there. So it's really worthy to look at that and really investigate the shit out of it. And it's going to be different for everybody, because we don't do things the same way when it comes to our subconscious stuff. Like what works for one person with this will not work for another person. You like doing all this stuff and thinking, oh, I know how to fix this now because I've seen 3 people, then they did it all this way. Then you get another person, they're like, oh, I ain't going to do it that way at all. I'm going to do it this totally other way that you never seen before. And you're going to be just sitting back going, what? Yeah, people are amazing. And none of us do things the same. So know that too, that whatever you're processing is unique to you, for your soul benefit and experience. Know that you are that individualized within this experience you're having on earth. Realize how vital every little bit of this is for you in some way. But I would look at, is this just another parallel reality? And if it is, then you'll understand it and you'll probably stop viewing it so much, because then you'll know. And maybe your other part of you is wanting to know if you're the other part of its parallel reality. So there's an acknowledgement. If that happens, it might put both of you at rest, because it probably wouldn't be happening unless the question was asked within both. Because the answer was already there, and that's how it's showing you each other.
But still see a doctor, because just in case, because you have insurance, you have a really good insurance, you might as well use it once in a while.
Right. Well, that's something that can be, you can rectify that so easily too, if you know fast, before you have problems. So that's like, if that's a warning and it's going to save you from future big problems, well, thank you for the wisdom and the information and beating me up in the head until I figured it out. Thanks. Sorry, I was a little slow. I get that a lot too. Sorry, I was a little slow. That took me a while.
I've got a story for you where I was working on a car in a closed garage once in the middle of the winter. And I had a voice come in my head and tell me, get out of here, get up, get out of here. And I was underneath this dashboard trying to fix his brake booster while the car was running. I swear I was in there for time. It went by so fast. I was under there for 45 minutes, it turns out. Well, I almost died of carbon monoxide poisoning. I got to the door of the garage and I collapsed right at the door. My head fell outside the door. And that was the only reason why I stayed alive, is because I heard this voice in my head.
And you got outside. Yeah.
And it was just weird. And, I tell people that story around me and they're like, yeah, whatever, but
no, Steve, I had the same thing happen to me. And this is crazy. I was a kid. I was like 14 or 15 years old. Didn't even have a driver's license yet. And I'm at this desert party out in the desert. Well, some kids out there were messing around with the pistol, like looking at it and spinning it around and stuff like that. I heard that just like you said. And I've always heard male voice for my protection. This was the first time ever it was a female voice. And all she said was, it would be wise to leave now, like urgent now.
Yep.
And I was like, there was so much commotion, firecrackers, kids, desert party, fire, bonfire, it was loud. I was like, what? I was like, I don't even know. I was like, oh, forget it. That probably was nothing. Nope, it came again. It would be wise for you to leave now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, so I was like, oh God, where's my ride? Looking for my ride. And as soon as I started doing this and looking for my ride, I saw him and I was like, hey. And I bent over and screamed at Mark and my brother. I was like, Mark, Mike, we got to go. And as soon as I went like that, a bullet went straight past me and hit the girl I was talking to in the shoulder.
Oh no. Wow.
Yeah, but it didn't hurt her. It just grazed her. It didn't do any permanent damage to her. But no, guys, it would have hit me right in the chest.
Wow.
Straight through the center of my chest, because she was way shorter than me.
Mm-hmm.
No, I totally agree with that. I had the same thing happen to me when I was a kid. I was 16 or 17, and me and my buddy were driving in a car, and we're chasing somebody who'd egged us. And so we went down this gravel road, and we knew they were ahead of us, but we were so close behind them. All the gravel and the dust was coming up. I was just driving in a dust cloud, and the voice inside my head says, hit the brakes, hit the brakes, hit the brakes, hit the brakes. I hit the brakes. We stopped. We both looked at each other. And when the dust cleared, their car wasn't but, 20, 30 feet in front of us?
Oh.
And the kids were all standing outside.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
We would have plowed.
We've all gotten those warnings. Those warnings when it's really important and it's like right now, and either you listen or you don't. And like I said, I was second questioning because it was so noisy in the environment I was in. I was like, maybe I didn't hear that right. You know what I mean? I don't know. I was just like playing it off, and it came again stronger and louder. And literally that saved my life.
Yep. Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree. I heard the voice myself. It's real.
It's very
don't
powerful.
Listen. That's the thing. I wonder about all those people who heard the voice and didn't listen.
Well, there were times
who lived
and
through
didn't listen, and big trouble happened.
Almost died. Yeah, they almost died, and they were like, I knew I wasn't supposed to get in the car that night. I knew I wasn't supposed to. They always say that. I knew I wasn't supposed to. And as they're in a body cast in the hospital, I'm like, oh, dude, don't ever do that again.
Yep, I've had that happen to me a few times.
Yeah, you learn though not to ever listen again. It only takes a couple times where you go splat real hard and you realize you need to listen. You hear that voice.
Somebody said it's intuition, and intuition is something that a lot of people don't pay attention to, and intuition should be taught, just like intellectualism, and like we teach our intellect, we should train our intuition, and a lot of people just ignore that side of it.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But you know what though? Like I said, this is total speculation, but part of my understanding of what was happening with Atlantis was they literally shut that off. They shut it off. Yeah, it was necessary because we were too powerful. And that's when the problems and the dumbing down of that's why we went from these magnificent societies, although the beings that were there were helping us and telling us how to do this stuff and helping us a lot. But, we had the capability to build it and do it. And, but they were moving, like they had technology we just didn't have.
Trina, I think that goes along with what you just said earlier tonight about the power, when you have everything you want. And so the people of Atlantis had everything they wanted.
Yeah.
at their fingertips, and all they wanted was more power. Well, then when everybody has power, now what do you want? You want to destroy other people's power so you're more powerful than they are.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of
Yeah.
is, you know,
It
what
appears
comes after power then?
there is nothing after that, and even they
That's-
get bored with that, and then you see it go into really dark things like taking lives.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Then the only thrills are the things that are forbidden. That's where that goes after that. It's a long chain of destruction. Yeah.
Yeah, destruction. And that's what happened
That's
to the
exactly
last.
where it goes. There's no other way. It's just there's no other outcome. No.
Yeah, because if one guy couldn't have it, the other guy couldn't have it. So we'll destroy it, and then nobody will have it.
And then there's always going to be somebody that has more, and the system will create that just to piss you off.
And that's the thing is the system always recreates everything again because we're
human.
There's
nothing new under the sun.
We'll be back.
You're right, Robert.
I think our natural cycles on this planet are just, just devastation, rebirth, devastation, rebirth. I think it just happens over and over and over again. Just because
you're
of
right.
our cosmic neighborhood, and
I think you're right.
Maybe even we do it to ourselves. Who knows? But I think it's just a part of the cycles.
We look at all the evidence now with the simulation and, the matrix and all that stuff. And it appears that that's probably accurate. Science is now saying it's like a 1 in a billion chance we're not living in a simulation, which would make total sense because your soul would be projecting into this reality, into a body. And that's why you have a signal system. So you are staying connected to your soul. And that's what the whole silver cord is you're always connected to your primary source. That's why you have this separate ball of consciousness that's individualized. So we're projecting this body through that stream of consciousness that we know as who we are, and we were able to anchor part of your consciousness from a spiritual realm down into a physical realm, and it's like plug and play. You're plugged in to this electrical field, and you're the ground. You grounded into the earth, and you're literally like a grounded rod, an antenna walking upon this plane, and everything that's coming through the soul, which runs into the body, is projecting the body and projecting your immediate reality, even though we share a collective experience. So you got to always entertain the collective, because the collective holds like the whole thing together is only because it can see every single one of our perceptions of it and put it together as one solid thing. So we're creating this. We are creating this.
Yeah.
Period. If this science is correct, then that means ultimately there is nothing outside of you that can be held accountable. It is all you. You control your immediate reality. You control what you think, what you feel, and what you see, and what you listen to. It's all under your control. And what you feel about it is going to manifest in the world. It's not what you think, it's what you feel. So when we can learn to control emotion and learn how to vibrate the way we want to, rather than being, bombarded by the things outside of us that are throwing us off balance and producing not so good benefits to you. I think that's going to be a big key on what's upcoming. We're really going to need to focus on how can we manifest in these frequencies, because we have a lot coming at us now. And I think it's going to be important.
Sure, it's going to be more too. I mean, did you see the newest technology? They got walkie-talkies that can go across the whole country now. A freaking walkie-talkie.
Yeah, but it's connecting by satellite. Yeah,
but
it's just
it goes through the internet. It goes through the internet. If you look at the fine print, You got to be hooked to the walkie. Yeah, sure, you could talk to anybody anywhere as long as you're hooked to the Wi-Fi wherever
As
you're
long as
at.
you got Wi-Fi,
Oh
right?
no, they're straight up walkie talkies where you buy two of them and you turn them on, and somebody could drive with that walkie talkie in their hand for 1,600 miles and get on the other side of the country, and you can still talk to them.
Uh-huh.
I thought I looked it up, and then I think you got to
You
have
did?
Wi-Fi.
Oh, you
Yes.
really?
Everything
Oh,
is
look into
going
it.
through. Everything is going through the Ethernet, and it has to have a continuous ping to signal to get it to you.
Well,
So
that's
it's
like
either
my
going
car.
up or it's going through down on the ground. But it's a signal catching by an antenna. I think Comcast, those really good walkie-talkies back in the day, I
Mhm.
think their signal system was running through Nextel or something. It was, I can't
I had
remember.
it back in
I
the
used
day.
to
I
have
had a
that
Nextel phone.
phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had the
I used to have
walkie-talkie
those.
system on there. Yeah, and I
My
could talk to
brother had to have them for towing. They had to have
Yeah, I used to have one of
walkie-talkies.
those too. It was called they called it a chirp. You would chirp somebody, and that it was a Nextel phone. Yeah, I had one of those.
Okay.
That was for a job, but it was part of a cell phone. But these things I'm talking, they're just walkie talkies. But you looked into it, Robert, and that's how they work. You got to go through
Yes,
Wi-Fi.
my buddy had asked me about that, and he says, "Hey, we should get those." And I said, "Let me check this out first." And I did, and the fine print is it
Yeah,
hooks to the
I didn't look into it.
your Wi-Fi.
I
And
thought it
then
was
once
kind of crazy. But no, I bought this new car, this 2025 Ford Explorer, and this damn thing's got Wi-Fi connected to it 24/7. And I'm like, what the hell? I mean, I can go on YouTube in my car without even being connected to anything now. I'm like, what the hell?
Yep. Yep.
that's the thing.
And you know why that is because they got this Blue Cruise feature on there where you can, hands free and you don't have to hear nothing and all that. But you have to pay this damn fee, $60 a month, to be able to drive hands free. I'm like, what the? They didn't tell you that when they sold you the car. They give you 3 months of trial, and you get addicted to it and you like it because it's fun driving a car with not having to drive a car. You know what I mean? You just push it. It slows down. You turn on the blinker and it'll change lanes for you. Just like a Tesla. It's just crazy.
But they had that
No,
with the
thank you.
cars, wasn't it? Where what was it? What was it? The GM cars had the thing you press the OnStar or something like that, and you would connect, and but here's the thing: regardless if you pay for the service or not, you're always connected to OnStar.
Yeah,
you will always be
my car is connected nonstop. Yeah.
It just won't give you the service anymore.
Right.
Until you pay the fee. But anyway, we're getting to our hour. People are going to be heading over to Max Vision remote view class. And tomorrow, Nina the Mystic will be having on EA Quetting. So go over there and join them for a great show on the Let's Talk. Good information over there. Thank you all for being on here. Trina, Steve, any last words?
No, thanks. Just nice talking to you. I'm glad. I was happy to be on with you, and you guys take it easy. Nice to hear from you. Nice seeing you, Lucky. Nice seeing you, Trina.
So good. So good to see you too, Steve. It's been too long.
Yeah. You guys take it easy.
Yes, take it easy. Thank you, everyone out there. Remember, go and do something nice for yourself and everyone else around you, because the most important thing out there is to be the frequency you want to receive. Thank you, everybody. Love you all. Peace, everyone.